Mhm.
Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Today, we're having our first episode of a series about women, and it's sponsored by Wavetel and run by Embrace Women nonprofit organization. And we're here today to talk about new beginning for women and listen to their story. And we have lovely women here sharing their stories. The first lady to talk is Katia Wise. She's a mother of two beautiful girls. She's from Brazil and she lives in Michigan. And she's pursuing her degree now in psychiatry and psychology with Purdue University. And she's going to talk about her new beginning in this country. So, welcome, Katia, and the mic is yours.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story. So, my name is Katia Wise. I'm originally from Brazil. I moved to Michigan in 2002. My husband got an offer to come to USA, the same company that he was working before. Um, I was very scared and I was very pregnant. And I just asked him if he could wait until my baby was born, our baby was born, because I was afraid to have a baby alone here, with my support, with all my family. So when my daughter was 5 months old, we moved to USA. And I knew it was going to be hard, but I was afraid, but I was excited too, a chance to learn English and another culture, and a great opportunity for me, as and my daughter as well. So when we arrived here, his company hired a company to help us, with social security number, with things especially they should have, but they didn't. They were ready for my husband, but not for me. And I had little or no to say on anything. And they barely spoke with me, to be honest. And that's affected me like really, really bad. I got really, really depressed. And I actually was, I had under diagnostic postpartum depression. And without that was going on, being alone, missing my family, a newborn that won't, she was very fussy when she was a baby. So it was really, really hard. And the only thing that worked out for me at that time, it was my English teacher. And she was a very nice American lady. And she will come to my house for private lessons. And I want to have private lessons almost every day. And then she will come after sometimes a really, really hard day. Like I had a really, really hard day. So before we start to talk, it was the first human besides my husband that I was seeing, the end of the day, the end of a very hard day. So I would just start crying. And actually that made me try to speak as much as I could, because I want to share what I was feeling. And obviously I could only speak English with her. So, and I actually learned English very fast, even though my daughter was always coming to me and crying and holding my legs. And sometimes my teacher would hold her so I could finish my lesson. So she was very patient, very loving. And, and 3 years later, I got pregnant with my second child. And I was very scared, and I didn't know if I could do it. I even thought of going to Brazil to have my second child in Brazil. It crossed my mind, but then I thought that it wasn't gonna work. So I had my second baby here. It was hard, but after my baby was born, my second baby, I felt so, it's like something lifted off my shoulders, and I had a feeling that I could do anything. And I really had a feeling that if I could have a baby without the support system, because my husband, was busy working, I can't blame him, and traveling. So I felt really confident, and that's where I really started to feel different. And this was like 3 years later after I moved here. So it takes a while for you to start really, to feel. For some time, I felt like I didn't belong to Brazil anymore. And I also didn't belong here. So, and, I still live in Michigan in the same house. Um, and I love here, but for sure it's hard. But we can do it. Woman can do anything that we put in our mind. Yeah, and I'm certain of that. Because I have been through a lot of things here and I survived, including racism. Now, probably over my time, I don't have a timer. So yeah, it's been a really wonderful experience for me, and I don't want to go back to Brazil. I like to live here. Anything else? Any questions?
We will love to have you here, Katya. I'm so glad you're here. We all have this
Thank you.
feeling like we miss our home, but we belong here.
Yes.
We're torn apart, like we live in two different worlds.
Yes. Yeah. And what I see sometimes, I feel like it's hard for our families to understand when you start to love to stay here so much. Like when I go to Brazil, I miss my home. This is my home, which is weird. And when I was in Germany last summer for a month, I was desperate to come back home after 3 weeks.
Yes.
I miss my home. Yes. So that's my home, and my kids love here. They are, their first language is English for sure. And but they speak English, Portuguese, and German, by the way.
I know, I'm so jealous.
Yes, it's very hard for them. They had to practice a lot last summer, so that was good for them. Yeah, but they had a lot of pressure. Families sometimes can put a lot of pressure, on you. Yeah, but it's great. So a multicultural family, they have opportunity to travel and to talk a lot about other cultures and learn a lot of stuff that I think if you were in Brazil, for example, we wouldn't have the opportunity to do. And also the violence in Brazil, it's unbelievable. And every time I go down on vacation, I'm so scared that my kids are going to be kidnapped. And I think only if you know how Brazil is violent, you know what I'm talking about. It sounds like it's not real, but it's very real. So yeah, so I'm glad we're here.
I'm really happy that you got to talk about your story like this, because it was a very good opportunity for me to get a very short version of all the story that you've written and we've been working on, right?
Yeah.
I would love it if you can talk more about that, the experience of racism that you had, which you didn't talk much about here, but I would love it if you can talk more about that. And I think what's very interesting about that part of your story was that there were your daughters who looked very different from you, although they had come from your rooms, right?
Yes.
But they look very different from you, and people just started making judgments about you. And I think essentially what that was that your identity, you had taken a new identity as a Latina woman in America, which didn't matter when you were back in Brazil. So
Yes.
it would be really good if you can, talk about their experience of racism and also talk about your general experience as a Latina woman in America.
So when that started, actually, when my first daughter started preschool, um, actually, I have three daughters. I have a stepdaughter. She's 30 years old and she lives in Germany. She was born and raised in Germany. Um, and I have two biological daughters. So Alicia was born first, and when she was 3 years old, 3.5 years old, after my second daughter was born, she started preschool. She was 3, and then I started to notice like that people would act like, "Are you sure this is your daughter?" Because you guys know my kids. They are really, fair and light hair and blue eyes, and actually I was tanner. It's because I live so long in Michigan now that we barely have sun. But I was darker. So I was super tan, and I still am. The light here, it doesn't show. But anyway, so they kept asking me, "Are you sure this is your daughter? That's impossible. Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's is my kid for sure. It came out of me." And I had a couple, I started to meet, talk to other parents, and because before I had that group like with DR and other friends from Germany, it was more like a safe blanket. That group was more like a safe blanket. We were in the same boat. We were in the same boat. We were all foreigners, and we were all struggling with the same thing. So when they started school, I met other people that lived here forever, that was raised and born here, or in America, and some of them were really like I don't like to be in a spotlight. And I remember one person was always putting in a spotlight. Like every time I came in to the school or something, we would yell, "Oh, Carnival, party, Victoria's Secret." And I felt so offended because that's not who I am, and that's the only thing that this person could say. And also say, "Look at this poor kid. Uh, uh, it looks nothing like her mother." And I'm like, "How can you say something like that in front of my kid?" And then I was so alone, and I want to fit in. I want to be part of the community. So every time this person said something, I just let it go. But I came home and I cried, and I was talking to my husband, and he was like, "How somebody can say something like that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I have no idea." And I said, "And this person always wants to put him in stoplight and in a spotlight. And now about Victoria's Secret, Carnival, and the Brazilians love to party. The Brazilians love to drink." And so I started, like, people was gonna have a wrong perception of me, and it looked like the people, some moms acted like they knew me, like very well. So if other people heard that, it's like they knew what they were talking about. So yeah, I felt very offended, but they never asked me like about my degree, or they were always focused on this stereotype that they made up, which is not even true. So yeah, that was very hard, very, very hard for me. But it was really, really hard until a second grade teacher once told me I should not let people bully me. We were talking about kids being bullied, and she said, "You also cannot let parents bully you." because at that until then I thought I was the only one who could see that. But it turns out that a lot of people were seeing the same thing. So yeah, that's my racist story.
Were there other immigrant parents at the school?
Not really.
Mm.
Not really. It was mostly at the time. It was like mostly. He had maybe somebody. I think he had the one another kid from Germany, and one from Iraq. Yes.
And what about your general outside these schools? What do you think you can tell? I mean, this is certainly not an interview, I'm sorry, but I just
Oh,
tend to
that's
have a
okay.
lot of questions. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
God. Okay, so this is going to be my last question because I don't want to take anyone's opportunity to talk. So how do you see yourself as a Latina in America? Aside from the racism, how do
From
you?
the racism.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I see that I am just a human like everybody else. You know, it doesn't matter that I am if I have a darker skin or accent or that's another thing. People made a lot of fun of my accent too, like a lot of fun. You know, they made a lot of jokes and um, like kept asking how you say this and this and this. Say it, in front of a big group of parents and stuff like that. Yeah.
I can't believe
So
that happened.
yeah, it did. It did.
Wow. Were there any
So,
times when people would approach you thinking that you're a Spanish speaking Latina and start talking in Spanish?
oh yes, yes. Yeah, actually people don't even know that Brazil speaks Portuguese. Most of the time. Most of the time they
Wow.
think we speak Spanish. Yeah.
Then what do
Yeah,
you
so
tell
most
them?
of the time. But my kids, like they when they started high school and they start AP classes, and suddenly they start to talk more about, like, especially in history, about Brazil. And the teacher asked the kids, "Do you know, for example, why Brazil speaks Portuguese?" And my daughter knew because I told her the history about Portugal and why Portugal invaded Brazil and blah blah blah. And but nobody else knew, and because everybody thinks we speak Spanish. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel? Whenever people just approach, that happens to me too. Sometimes I'm originally from South Korea, but I like a bunch of people in the street, they just come up to me and start speaking Chinese. And I'm like, I don't know. My ancestors may have come from China like millennia ago, but I don't speak the language. So I'm curious how that makes you feel.
I just say I don't speak Spanish. Brazil does not speak Spanish or Brazilian. Brazil speaks Portuguese. Because people also say Brazil speaks Brazilian. Yeah. On the other thing, like also, it's funny. Like even my daughter, she had like a Brazilian friends that live here. That he came here already as a teenager, and when she says, "Oh yeah, my mom is Brazilian, I'm half Brazilian, my dad is German, so I'm half Brazilian, half German." She loves to say that. And her friend told her, "You not Brazilian, you too white to be Brazilian." And she was like, "I don't even know what that means." So it's yeah, things that you don't understand what is going on in people's minds. And so
Yeah, the next time if DR ever decides to organize this again, there should be some of your like all or your daughter is sitting, and then DR's daughter is sitting, and then we start talking about what it's like
yeah,
to be, yeah, to be living here as second generation immigrants, but at the same time for your daughters particularly, they seem to be in a racist America. They're in a tricky position, right? So
yes,
that would be very
yeah.
interesting. I would come to that
And
event.
especially with the election, I could see how passionate they were.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you know, with all the racism and violence, and you know, and they have friends from all over the world, you know, here. That's what we like also to live here, you know, people from everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Mhm.
yeah, but definitely they are very proud for you know, belong to a multicultural family.
Mm, that's good. Yeah, you raised them well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Huh, Katya?
Now the
All
next
set,
dear.
or we need to talk more? Now you're scaring Antonia because she thinks that she has to talk that much.
No, it's just
She only
no.
prepared for less than 10 minutes.
It's okay.
No.
I'm thinking to speak about my story and share advices with new beginners
Yeah,
at
of
the
course.
same time.
Of course.
So
Let's see if Katya's done. Katya, do you have anything else to add?
No, just that, you know, we can do anything we want,
Yes.
you know?
Thank you so much.
Anything, anything, anything.
Yes. Thank you so much, Katya. That was really good to hear and learn from your experience. Now we have
Thank you.
Antonia Montero. She's from Portugal and she's here also with her husband's work. And she's been here, what, 8 years so far?
almost 10.
10. And she's a mother and she's also going to talk about her experience as an immigrant mom. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Antonia. I'm from Portugal and I have lived in the US since 2011. I came here because of my husband's work. And at that time, my two daughters were ages 1 and 7. It was very hard. It was my first time moving to another country, and especially because I left all my family behind. But on the other hand, as Katya told, I knew I would have the opportunity to get know different cultures, and here is a melting pot. So I was looking forward to that. In the beginning, you need to think first how to do everything. You need to think about how to speak in English, in that case. You need to search where you buy certain things. You need to learn how to speak better. You need to find out certain things at your kids' school because you study in a different country. But when I look back, I smile. When I moved here, I knew two couples that spoke Portuguese, one from Portugal and another from Brazil. Both work in the same company as my husband. Then at my oldest daughter's school, I met a Spanish mom. And 1 year late, I met Katya at the dance studio where our daughters danced together. So you start to meet people, especially if you have kids, and people introduce you more people. One thing that I did that I loved was improving my English at ESL classes, English as second language. I did at Niles in Troy. Because of that, I meet lots of women that were here foreign like me, and some are my friends still today. And it's nice because it's a group of women. Till now, I have this group from different countries with different cultures, religions, and ages that are friends. And I think that is great. It's amazing. For me, it's very good. And if you are here from another country and it's being hard for you, I think you never give up. You need to trust yourself. if you feel that you need to improve your English, go to the ESL class, and you can make friends too. Especially because most of them are here like you and me. Interact with your neighbors. They can help you a lot and be friends. I think that is the case of some of you. If you ever don't feel confident with the language, don't be shy. And remember that English is your second language, and some people only speaks one. It's one of the things that I learned with an English teacher, because at the beginning, I always said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak very well." And my teacher told me, "No, you never say that. You speak very well. And you need to think that English is your second language. So most of us just speaks one. So next time you just need to tell, oh, I'm sorry, can you please speak slowly because English is my second language?" And this is one of the advice that when I know someone that it's here not in the beginning and always be afraid to don't speak well, I always tell this because I think that encourage us to be more confident. So I was supposed to stay here only 3 years, but I'm still here. So almost 10 years. And the time flies, as Katya said, and then you start to miss here too. I normally return to my country in the summer for 2 months, and I began to miss my friends, my routines, my life, because you start feeling that you belong here too. So for the new beginners, I wish you all luck. Enjoy your life, your family, anywhere. Your home is where you are. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share. And it's a pleasure because I love to speak about it.
Well said. Thank you for sharing. Anybody, ladies, do you have any question for Antonia? Same. Thank you. We've all been through the same thing, almost the same thing, but from different experience. It's very scary learning a new language, but to tell you the truth, in this country, I didn't see people that much making fun of us. Do you ever notice that? People are good about people not knowing how to speak English, or my experience at least.
Yeah, for me too. I don't have a lot of bad experience. I don't have. In fact, I only have 2 times. And one of the time I share with my English teacher at that time that we have like conversation classes. And the teacher normally asked us how was our weekend. And I told her about, and is why she told me about it.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, I think that I was not very confident. So I think that is good for foreigners, that we don't speak well as we speak our first language, but we speak good enough to people understand us.
That is true. That is true. And I always, my girls also, they're teenagers, so sometimes they make fun of me, and I always tell them this, but I can speak 2 languages and write and read 2 languages, so watch out. Yes.
It's true. And sometimes, I don't know if it happens with you, they have accent with some words, or don't say, in my case, in Portuguese, sometimes they speak Portuguese. We always speak Portuguese at home, but sometimes they forget how to say a word or don't say correctly. And I say, see, it's like in English, so it's you in Portuguese. I make fun of them.
Yeah, now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Is the kids liking here? Do they like to stay here?
Yes, they like it. Yes, they like both countries, but because they have friends here, they love here. Yeah, they feel comfortable here too.
Are you guys staying here for like permanent?
No, we go back. I just don't know when, but I want to go back.
Okay. We wish you luck in anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. You did an awesome job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now we have Tina Kowitz. She's from Michigan, and she has a different experience than us, what she want to talk about. Tina, the mic is yours.
Okay. Hi. Thanks for letting me share my story. I think I've had a much easier story because I'm one of those people that only speaks one language aside from French really, really badly. But yeah, I was born and raised in this area. I live a few doors down from Katia. And so my new beginning story is more about the transition into motherhood while also being a working mom. I'm a geotechnical engineer with a federal agency, and I love my job. And before I had kids, I was really worried about oh, what about this? How is this going to get done while I'm on maternity leave? And then you have a child, and your priorities just they change. Your world changes. So my work is still really important to me, but my kids are even more important. So for me, I didn't want to give up my career, but at the same time, I didn't want to leave my kids. So going back to work was a bit of a struggle. I'm lucky enough to have a very supportive husband. He actually has been working like half-time, three-quarters time to kind of help out with, normally getting kids back and forth to school when they went to school. And he helps out a lot. So I think I'm lucky in a lot of regards there. But, like going back to work in kind of a male-dominated field, I never felt like I was denied any opportunities, but there were, there's awkward times when you're going back to work and you're still nursing your children, and you get off a plane and you're like, oh hey, let's go to the bar. I'm like, I've got to go find a bathroom stall and pump, but I can't tell you that. So so there's just awkward times, and but more than that, it's about feeling what I struggle with is feeling like if I'm at work, focusing at work, I'm ignoring my children.
Did we lose Tina? I think we lost her.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah. We'll wait and see if she can make it.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure she'll try again.
Oh. Oh.
That's okay. That's how it is. Zoom and technology, and by now we used to those ups and downs.
Mm.
Working with students every day, it's a big struggle. Having them coming to your class on time.
DR,
Yes.
until Tina joined, how did you meet all these amazing ladies? Would you like to talk about that?
Oh yes, Katia, we met. I through when the girls were young, like my oldest Zina, she was maybe 6 months old, and we had a play date or group moms or play date, and we were, as she said, we were international. We were from every country, and we kept it going. Our girls are the same age.
And Antonia and Tina?
Those are Katia's friend. I just met
Oh,
them.
that's amazing. Okay. Really good chain.
Yeah.
Katya, the one, she's a social butterfly, it seems like it these days.
I just want this pandemic to be over.
I know, you're right. We try the best we can.
Yeah, yeah. We just, want it to be over.
We were a bigger
To
group,
have
but when 2008 hits and all of those foreigners come from different places, everybody went somewhere else. Now we're just me and Katya left. We went to Canada, went to Wisconsin, went to Washington, DC, went back to Mexico. I mean, so many places.
back to Germany.
So we lost them.
Yeah.
We lost our group, but only me and Katya
Yeah.
stayed in this area. Yes. But we're still in contact with the rest, but only via Facebook and things, but we don't see each other anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, the girls, they were in the phase that they were doing sports, and the weekends is like only focus on
Yes.
swim meet. That's how my life became. My weekends are like swim meet, and then soccer, and then dance, and then dance competition. And yeah.
Katya, do you think you can call her or text her?
Oh, she said she's trying again.
Okay, perfect,
She just told me.
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect,
So she's trying. Something must happen with her connection, and then, but she's trying again.
perfect.
Yeah.
No problem.
Could I ask
So, yeah.
Katya and Antonia a question? Both of you mentioned the impact that teachers had on you, especially coming here. What do you think teachers could do to help newcomer students, adults or younger, to help them adjust or feel more comfortable in the United States?
Do you want to go first, Antonia?
We cannot hear you.
Antonia, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
No, you can answer, Katya, first.
I think Tina is back.
I am sorry
Yeah,
about
she's
that.
back. Oh,
Eh,
okay.
Yes, everyone froze, and I don't know when you lost me. So
Oh.
how would you?
That's okay.
I-
You can pick up from anywhere.
Yeah.
We were talking about your struggle when you travel, when you're nursing.
Yes, yeah. So that was a bit, awkward. You'd have to, I'd have to make sure I wasn't in too many back-to-back meetings, or else it just, things were embarrassing. So there was a lot of, excuse me, I have to leave, or, why are you always carrying that backpack around? And you just kind of roll your eyes, and they're just, some people like just didn't get it. And, but, at least I had a job where I could, take those breaks, and they provided facilities. But, it does feel like you struggle with trying to be a good mom and do a good job. And I think right now with COVID, it's a lot harder for working moms because you're back at home. I used to have like a separation of work and at home, and I felt like I missed out on things. But when you're at home, we all know that they go to mom first. So it makes it a little harder to try to, do both roles, and also be, the lunch lady and everything else, and try to pick after the little monsters. So no, yeah, so that's kind of what, that's the only struggle I think I might have had. And, Katya mentioned this earlier in her story, but after my second, I had some postpartum issues as well, which really came out of nowhere, because I've always considered myself a very stable person, and no problems with my first. Second, my doctor said I was like one of the worst cases she'd ever seen, which, I don't take as a compliment. I was, it was postpartum anxiety, had trouble talking, even making choices on getting dressed. It was really extreme, but it was a hormone issue. And, got on some medications, and 3 months later, I was back to normal. And it was just really bizarre to know that your body can do that to you and really mess with you in that way. So that was I was lucky enough that that happened while I was on maternity leave, and I was able to get back to work, and no one really knew what I went through. Because I'm more of a private person until I put it all on Facebook, I suppose. But yeah, so that's more my story. I feel like me personally as a woman, I've been extremely lucky, but I do think that there's, when you look around the world, there's a lot of countries where, I think we need to start stepping up and helping out, because it's just heartbreaking. The opportunities that a lot of women miss out on just based on where they were born. No fault of their own. They're just denied a lot of opportunities. And I think those of us that have opportunities need to start stepping up and trying to help. So that's my story. I don't know if there's any questions.
Amazing, your story. Thank you so much for sharing those details and about post. I also been through that. I was perfectly healthy with my first pregnancy and second pregnancy, and my third one, I got really suicidal. And I had therapists that comes home and help me. But with my culture, mental illness is just a taboo and stigma. Mm-hmm. My husband even, they prescribed me a medication. My husband refused. And think about it now, when like I should have taken it. Why I just listened to him? It's just me. It was really desperately need, but then it's gone, and thank God I'm fine. But I mean,
right.
This is real. This is real. I mean, we women go through this, and it's a real thing that we have to talk about it. And
yeah.
Thank you, Tina, for sharing this. And not even my family know. Well, now they will.
Yeah, I know.
Now they will. Yeah, it's real. The same to me. I consider myself, like bubbly and always happy and stable, but I was completely unstable, and I didn't want to drive anymore. I stopped driving. Yeah, for a while. So yes, I had to take medication, and yeah, but nobody now you guys know.
Just us and the world.
Yeah, but I didn't share. Only my husband knew.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, even the neighbors. I wasn't leaving the house much, but when I did, it was, I didn't say much about it. I was, it's not something you really want to talk about, really. But when you think about someone else maybe being in that situation, I was very fortunate that I have supportive friends, and I have family nearby that I could reach out to. And my family, I didn't have any suicidal thoughts, but we have a history of suicide in my family, which makes us unfortunately a lot more aware. So, they pushed me to take some action just in case, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have that same support system.
True. Yeah, it's I didn't have suicidal thoughts, but I could not drive. Like, I would go to the driveway and I couldn't even open the car door, and I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
Like, something was really, really wrong with me, and I didn't know what it was. I was always crying, and I was like, my worried about my baby was like unbelievable.
Like, I was convinced I had already done something horrible to my kids and someone was going to take them away. I mean, it was just like, and I knew it wasn't true, but those paranoia thoughts, and it was just really bizarre. Like, I've never done drugs, but now I'm like, is this what drugs is like? Because I was just
yeah, and I like that what you said about, that we don't really want to talk about it.
Mhm.
And I mean, it took 18 years for me to feel comfortable talking about this.
Yeah.
And until today, you see that a lot of women struggle with postpartum depression, and they don't have help, because it's a taboo. It's still a taboo.
It is, because it's supposed to be the happiest time of your life.
Yes.
And it is happy, but something is just off. Yeah. It's So I still to this day feel guilty that I cheated Calvin out of something, because those 3 months of maternity leave, I was very loving. I was very attached to him. But did he get the same experience as Cal or as Charlie? I don't think so. So yeah.
I wondered the same with Alicia. Yeah, because I had it with my first one. And I have the same question myself, because when I had Julia, it was completely different. Yeah. So, yeah, but we hope that we will encourage women to talk about it and ask for help. And yeah.
Yes. Guilt. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. That was awesome. Thank you, Tina, for sharing. That's really very eye-opening and helping. Thank you so much. And I don't know if you ladies want to answer Haley's question about because she's a teacher and she's trying to have taken her degree, so she want to learn from you ladies. Remember her question, or you want her?
Yes. No, I remember when the teacher came to the lady from the company that was hired to help us. She brought this American lady, Nancy, to my house for me to do an interview. And I remember the lady from the company was always talking to my husband and looking at my husband like he was the one who was going to have English classes. And then the teacher, she just touched my shoulders and looked exactly in my eyes when the other woman was just talking to my husband and explaining a lot of stuff really fast, and I couldn't understand a word. And she started to talk to me, and suddenly I could understand it. She said, "How are you? I always want to go to Brazil, and I think Portuguese is a beautiful language." And it's like so interested that it's not the only country that speaks Portuguese, in South America. And then suddenly she caught my attention, like, okay, she doesn't see me, she sees me. Because until that point, I thought that the company didn't see me, which they didn't. And then she did an assessment on my English, because I had English classes, but it wasn't perfect. So she was very loving and very patient, and like I said, she always looked in my eyes, like I'm a human. I am not like they say alien. They call us alien. So yeah, so she made me feel like I'm a human being, and I think that's a very important. And she always encouraged me, like Antonia said, don't ever think that, oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak very well English, because it's your second language. So you're doing the best you can, and I love to talk, as you can see. So I learned very fast, and she would come to my house, and like I said, after a really hard day, and then with the postpartum depression, and I was crying, and I want to say to somebody what I was feeling, and that's how my English just started to come. So I am really thankful to her. Yeah.
Antonia, you want to share something about your ESL teacher?
Yeah, I just have two teachers. In fact, I came here and I didn't start in the beginning. I think that I just went like 2 years after I moved. here, and I went to the ESL classes to improve a little bit. I think for me more the conversation, because like Katya, I love to speak, and sometimes I feel that I don't be myself because I'm not able to speak English the same way that I'm speaking Portuguese. So it's why I'm kind of a different person when I'm English speaking. But anyway, I take ESL classes, and then I take conversation class. After that, we had like a small group in a friend's house just to have conversation with a teacher from Niles that stay with us, like I think that's 2 hours per week, and we just talk. And for me was very good because sometimes we speak, but some words we don't speak correctly. So the teacher helped us a lot how to speak more correctly. The accent, we never lost our original accent, but yeah, I love the way that the teacher help us in the conversation. More for me was more helpful and encourage us, to be more confident. Is what I love with my experienced teachers.
Thank you both for sharing that. It helps me because with lots of students and from lots of different backgrounds, I want to make sure that they all feel included and welcome. So thank you both for sharing those experiences.
Thank
Haley,
you.
you don't have to. You're doing a fabulous job. I really appreciate having a class under you as my teacher. I really love it. You're such a nice soul. I'm so lucky that you're my teacher.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm lucky to have you as my student. So I'm really glad that I got to be here tonight and listen to all of you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So that's all what we have for today, ladies. Unless somebody have a question or something, we're happy to talk more.
I think I just want to say great work, Dr. I mean, you're so selfless in the amount of time that I know you. It's been amazing knowing you as a person, but also learning that you are creating great network of women and embracing the women around you. So I'm so glad that I came in, and so happy that I met Katie, Antonia, and Tina. Hopefully we will stay in contact.
Thank you, Besma. You're the best. You know that. That's okay. Thank you so much. It means a lot coming from you. Besma is very successful woman. You need to Google her and see how she's achieving high and low. She's very, very famous. Yes.
No. Just because Dr. my friend.
Thank you, ladies. That was really a pleasure. And I would love to see you again. And I'm sure we'll have more to come. And maybe we'll take Siana's idea and have the girls talk about their experience in living in America and as a first generation, let's say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they would do great at that.
Yeah.
You've raised some very strong, intelligent women. I think that would be great to get them on here.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Thank you, ladies.
Have a great night. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
all.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Great job, Dr. This was fantastic.